Hey, good day, everyone, and welcome to Microsoft 365 Live 2022. Um, my name is Satish, and I would be talking about all about Microsoft Teams Voice. Firstly, I would like to thank our sponsors. Without them, the event would have not been possible, and both the meeting organizer, the event organizers, and also our moderators for the event, because all of us make this event a complete success. My topic for today is Microsoft Teams calling plan, direct routing, Operator Connect, and Teams Phone Mobile. We'll talk about Teams Phone Mobile because it's one of the most important and the most recently announced capability, which was earlier known as Operator Connect Mobile, and now it has been named as Teams Phone Mobile. We'll also talk about in detail about that. Myself, Satish Upadhyaya, I work as a Microsoft Unified Communication Architect at Softel, and we'll talk about me and my organization shortly as well. A brief agenda, understanding about Teams Phone and the PSTN, what licenses are required, when you would be able to utilize the Microsoft Teams Phone system, discuss how are the various PSTN connectivity options, like the calling plan, operator connect, Teams Phone Mobile, and direct routing. So we'll talk about all the four options of the PSTN as well. Something about me. I have my own blog space, which is networkingtalks.wordpress.com. So you can follow me on the blog space as well. I have been into these industries for more than 9 years, experiencing and supporting customers across the globe with Microsoft Teams telephony. Completely from Link 2013 to Skype for Business, from Skype for Business to Skype for Business Online, and now Microsoft Teams completely. Uh, My expertise is from the telco, so I come in from a telco background, helping customers in those countries, regional countries like Middle East, China, India, where the telco regulations are most strict. So I help the customers deploying Microsoft Teams and Teams-based solutions in those countries as well. I have also been working with all the different government organizations, both in Canada and in the States, helping them in the implementations of the complex Teams architecture. Quickly about our organization. So we are a Microsoft partner, a managed Microsoft partner based in the States, headquarters in Atlanta, and then we are also a solution partner for modern work as well. More of our capabilities is around teams based bot. We build bots for which can interact with the frontline workers, and then we also build integrations and capabilities that can help the administrator ease out the implementations of Teams services. So at Saftel, we also have various monitoring and management solutions. We offer Microsoft 365 trainings to the end users. All those capabilities are available. Um, we have been into this industry for almost 30 years now, supporting the various contact center platform, be it Genesis, NICE, CX1, and the other contact center services. And now, so slowly and gradually, we are also focusing on the Microsoft Dynamics 365 and the digital contact center platform announced by Microsoft altogether. So we are a Microsoft partner with advanced calling specializations, one of the key things for being a Microsoft managed partner in terms of voice. So let's talk about Teams voice. What are the basic licenses that we would require to have Teams voice? So the most important things that you need to have is a basic enterprise queue licenses. We'll also talk about the business licenses shortly as well. But initially, either you need to have an E1, A1, G1, or E3, E5 licenses, or G1, G3, and G5, and A1, A3, and A5. Now, in terms of uh, enterprise, customers would be owning up anything which is like an enterprise E1, E3, E5 licenses. G1 SKUs are more specific for the regional government organizations. So like you have it in the States, you have it in Canada, you have it in the Germany and other locations where the government based tenants are available. A1, A3, and A5 SKUs are more specific to the educational sector customers, where the educational organizations would be procuring up the A1, A3, and A5 SKU of licenses altogether. Um, these are the basic requirement of your enterprise SKU licenses, which will provide you with Microsoft Teams capability. With that, you need to add on, if you're owning E1, E3, or G1, G3, or A1, A3, you need to add up the Teams phone system or cloud PBX licenses with the E3 with the E5, G5, and A5 SKU, the cloud system, cloud PBX license or the Teams phone system standard licenses comes in by default. In addition to that, we would also require to have the PSTN dial tone, which are the four method how you can have the PSTN integrated into Microsoft Teams, which we would be looking in shortly. This is something we spoke about enterprise, we spoke about education, we spoke about the government customers. What about business SKU licenses, the SMB or the SMC customers where they own business premium licenses? For them, uh, they only need to own up any of the business premium SKUs. With business premium, you need to add on the business M365 or Microsoft 365 or Office 365 licenses for business voice, which comes in with phone system and audio conferencing embedded into it. And then we'll have a PSTN dial tone capability similarly in the option one, which we spoke recently. So that's basically the licensing requirement overall in terms of what licenses would be required. Now, let's look at the four major ways how you can have your dial tone into the overall Teams architecture. The first option is Microsoft Calling Plan. So you can use Microsoft Calling Plan wherever, in whichever country the calling plan capabilities are available. We'll look at the Lowe's list of countries where Microsoft calling plans are available. So here is the list of countries where Microsoft calling plans are available currently. So it's like a 34 list of countries constantly getting added. South Africa being the recent one that was added, and Mexico is the next on the list that would be added shortly as well. Three countries in the America regions, four countries in the Asia Pacific region, and then 27 countries in the European regions where Microsoft calling plans are currently available, and you can procure the PSTN services directly from Microsoft. When I say we are able to procure the PSTN services from Microsoft, that means Microsoft becomes your telco. You get all your DID from Microsoft. DID would be like your direct inward dialing number, or a number or a PSTN service where people can call you directly from their cellular network, from their desk phones. That is what DID would all stand for. So if you purchase the services using the Microsoft calling plan in these countries, you would be able to acquire numbers directly from Microsoft, connect it into the Teams application, and there you go. You would be able to start making PSTN calls anywhere across the world. Now, in Microsoft calling plans, there are two separate SKU of licenses that's available. One is domestic and the other one is domestic and international. That's the two specific ones. And then there is a third one as well, which is pay as you go or communication credit, which gives you the option that has you only want to pay when you're using the PSTN services. So that's the third option that's available. Domestic calling plans would only allow you to make calls domestically in the respective country. So if you take a domestic calling plan for Sweden, you'll only be able to make domestic calls within Sweden. And if you have domestic and international calling plan, the second SKU of licenses, you can then make calls within Sweden and then anywhere across the world. Apart from these countries, the rest of the 194 countries, you can even make those calls to those countries as well. So that's in terms of all the international calling, domestic and international calling plan. You can have a domestic calling plan, and then with the domestic calling plan, you can also add on a pay as you go option, which would allow you to make international calling as well. So that's a mix and match in terms of your licensing SKU for the calling plan. Um, Coming to the licenses, since it is fixed based license, you don't pay anything. That doesn't mean you get unlimited calling options. For domestic calling, you get 3000 minutes per user per month, and for international calling you get 600 minutes per user per month. The minutes are pooled onto the tenant level. So let's take an example. If you purchase 10 calling plan licenses, out of that 10, um, you'll get 30,000 minutes of your domestic calling and 6,000 minutes of international calling if you purchase up the international calling plan. Most simplest method, the most easiest way to start testing the feature functionality in Microsoft Teams is using the calling plan. The only thing you need to do is assign those licenses into the Teams admin center and procure numbers from Microsoft instantly and then start utilizing the services immediately in next 15 minutes. How does the Teams application knows when the user is making a PSTN call? What does Teams check when the PSTN calls have been made? So when a Teams user makes a call, it goes to Office 365. Office 365, then it checks whether the user has a proper appropriate licenses or not. If you are using an Office 365 domestic calling and then you are making an international call, the call would be rejected. And it would make an announcement that please contact your administrator. You do not have the licenses required for making the call. So, and if you are making a domestic call, you have the domestic calling plan license, the call would go through, it would go onto the PSTN trunk in the backend, which Microsoft has, and then onto the PSTN network wherever you are making the call altogether. Only thing that you would require at the time would be internet connectivity, and you would be able to make the calls anywhere using those internet options and Microsoft Teams based on the plans that's assigned to your account. Now, let's talk about Operator Connect. The first option was the easiest option with calling plan where Microsoft becomes your telco. But then in the second option, we'll also require to have a option because most of the organizations, the enterprise organizations, the educational organizations, and even the government customers or the government organizations would have their existing relationship with their telcos. It could be any carriers across the world. They have their existing contracts, they have their existing relationship, they have a preferential rates coming in from this telco. So to retain this telco capabilities, to retain these customers, Microsoft have launched up a feature functionality called as Operator Connect. So first, let's look at in how many countries the Operator Connect feature functionality is available. So currently it's available roughly around 40 countries. No, currently it's available roughly around 65 countries, 10 in the Americas regions, 10 in the Asia Pacific region, 5 in the Africa region, and then 40 countries, including the smaller countries in the European regions, the islands coverage as well. So all those are covered, and in total, 65 countries have been covered in this Operator Connect functionality. Operator Connect also is expanding a lot currently there are 42 different operators that are added to the platform. Slowly and gradually, Microsoft is adding more to the platform altogether. So here is the list of operators currently available onto the platform. The list is constantly growing. At the time when I was preparing up the presentations, the list was small, but now it has been expanded to a larger list of customers and the operators that are available onto the platform. Now, how is the architecture looks like when it is an operator connect platform? How the users are connected? What all things would be required? How my billing would happen? All this question comes into our mind when we talk about operator connect. Now, the operator connect is any of the operator or any of the telco partners that are hosting the capabilities in their hosted SBCs. So this is like a kind of an hosted SBC in the operator or the telco partners cloud that would be hosted, and then they'll have the PSTN connectivity in the backend. But for the end user, for the administrator, or for the organizations, the only thing that they'll require to have is they would only require to have an internet connectivity and a subscription from these operators. That's the only two things you would require. The subscription from the operator would be configured into the Office 365, and whenever the user uses Teams application and makes the PSTN call, Office 365 would blindly make that call, and it would send that call towards the office to the SBC hosted in the operator cloud. It would validate which SBC is live, which SBC is connected, the connectivity to the SBC is available, and send the call. Like we had it in calling plan. In calling plan, Microsoft 365 used to make the check whether the user is assigned with a respective calling plan or not. In Operator Connect, those checks are not required. It would send the call blindly to the a hosted SBC if the user is enabled for enterprise voice, and then the SBC would take the decision whether the call needs to be terminated or the call needs to be sent towards the PSTN. So all those configurations are done in the SBC by the operator. So that's the benefit. Using this Operator Connect platform, we can retain our existing relationship with our telcos, or we can continue utilizing the existing uh, premium rates that we have from our telco, so we can continue using that. And then slowly and gradually, we can also migrate our services to be a completely cloud-based solution and with no specific requirements to have an on-prem base SBCs or session border controllers or an on-prem based devices at each office premises. You can consolidate the services from the cloud altogether. So that's what it is with regards to Operator Connect as a platform. In case if you have any questions, do put that into the chat window and we can discuss the questions towards the end of the session as well. Let's talk about Teams Phone Mobile. Teams Phone Mobile is one of the latest functionality, which was recently rebranded at the Microsoft Ignite event. Before rebranded as Teams Phone Mobile, this was also called as Operator Connect Mobile, wherein a SIM services would be provided for your mobile devices. It would be like one single number that would be embedded into your cellular phone, and the same phone number would work on your Teams platform, and the same phone number would work onto your mobile devices as well. So it would be like one single number for both the services. Now, let's not confuse ourselves with Teams Phone Mobile and the Teams application that's available on the mobile app. Teams Phone Mobile is a PSTN based services. I know the name is a bit confusing, but then that's how Microsoft has rebranded it. And the mobile application which contains Teams Phone, that's totally an app that has been provided by Microsoft, nothing to do with the Teams Phone PSTN connectivity that we have. Currently, only five partners that are available to provide these services. Rogers is able to provide the services in Canada, Verizon in the States. Verizon currently is not yet active or with the services. They are just doing private preview with certain set of customers. Rogers have started delivering the services to the customers across Canada, so you can always reach out to the Rogers team and they'll be able to provide you with the services. Similarly, Swisscom in the European region is also able up to provide the services. Telia and BT are coming up with their own version, and starting January, all the three of these partners would also be providing up the services with SIM capabilities. So what is Operator Connect Mobile and what functionality it replaces? Um, with Operator Connect Mobile, the architecture remains really more simplified. You do not require to have internet connectivity. The first question that comes in, like if I want to make a PSTN call, do I need to have a 4G connectivity or a 5G connectivity on the internet to make the PSTN call? That's not required because Operator Connect Mobile or Teams Phone Mobile Connect PSTN services would work on the operator network. It uses the Azure for Operators network in the backend to make the PSTN calls. Um, Now, it uses your cellular network. It never uses the internet connectivity for making the calls. Like you make regular PSTN calls or regular phone uh, call or a regular public switching telephone number calls or a PSTN call to any of your user, any of your colleague when you make a call to your home, or you make a call to order any kind of a pizza or any kind of a food delivery services. Similar kind of a phone services would be available with the SIM provided by the telcos. We'll have a eSIM feature functionality wherein you'll have the SIM configured into your phone and then you can start making calls. The benefit of having Operator Connect Mobile is firstly, wherever the mobile connectivity or the mobile coverage is available, you'll have the PSTN go follow along you. So if someone is trying to make a call to your Teams, if you're not able to reach on Teams and the call gets forwarded, the calls would definitely land onto your Operator Connect DID immediately using the Teams network in the backend. So you don't have to worry about anyone reaching out to you on your cellular network or on the Teams application. It's single number where you would be reachable 24 by 7. And then there are certain options that are available with Operator Connect Mobile there where you would be able to have some quiet hours. You'll be able to receive only calls when you want. All those functionalities would be available as well. Will my contacts sync into the Operator Connect Mobile? Will I be able to make use of my contacts in my mobile data or in my mobile network or my mobile device? Yes, all those contacts, all those PSTN calls that you make would automatically sync with Teams. So all those functionalities would be available with Operator Connect Mobile. Architecture for Operator Connect Mobile or Teams Phone Mobile remains really simple. You'll have a SIM enabled devices or an eSIM enabled devices. You'll have Teams application on the device. Even if the Teams application is not available on the device, you can still use the functionality. You can still make the PSTN calls using your regular dial pad. You don't need to have an internet connectivity. Without internet, it can be uh, your PSTN calls can be made. Similarly, in case if you are on a call and you want to elevate that call into a Teams call, you want to make a video call, you want to make a audio from an audio, you want to make desktop sharing, you want to share some presentations, all that call elevation, escalation of the call from Teams from a regular audio only call to a high definition video only call to to additionally desktop sharing or a multimedia call. All those functionality would be available with is generally available now with Operator Connect Mobile. Some partners are already providing in respective countries, and in some countries the functionality would be made available shortly as well. Slowly and gradually, this would be expanded to all the countries across the globe. Microsoft is striving with the different partners uh, to have the functionality rolled out on all the devices. The one of the important benefit with Operator Connect Mobile is organizations do not require to have like a separate cellular phone number or a separate Teams number on your Teams application. Earlier, we used to have in your signatures office number and a mobile number separately. That is now getting replaced with single number, one number where I can have both the services, cutting down the requirement to have a separate mobile subscription would reduce the functionality, would reduce the requirement to a large extent altogether. So that's how the overall architecture for Teams Phone Mobile looks like. Now let's talk about direct routing or the Teams direct routing functionality using which we can also bring in the dial tone into our PSTN network into our Teams application. So Teams direct routing, the architecture is more simplified, wherein you require to have a Teams session border controller, a Teams certified session border controller that comes, the certification is done by Microsoft. Microsoft certifies, okay, this specific certain make and model of the session border controller or the SBCs can work with the Microsoft platform. So we can definitely have those certified. And then once it is certified by Microsoft, you can repurpose those session border controllers to be integrated with Microsoft Teams. It could be uh, it could be any session border controller coming in from Oracle, from Ribbon, from Cisco, from Audio Codes. You also have some SBCs that are certified from Avaya. And then there are certain SBC make and models that are cloud-based that have been certified as well. So various SBCs that are available and certified by the partners uh, and is available that can be hosted either on-prem or it could be in the cloud, not a problem. It can also have like a customer can own those SBCs in any of the public cloud, or it could even be a private hosted data center of any one of your users, of any one of the telco partners as well, wherein the services can be provided by your telco partners in the hosted data center as well. The indirect routing or this option, it has more granular level of control. What configurations would be made on this team certified SBCs is customer is who is owning the responsibility. Customer is making the configurations, or the organization's admin need to ensure that the configurations are in line so that the PSTN calls can go through using the Team certified SPCs. One of the prime requirement to have this Team certified SBCs are, based on my expertise and my experience, having on-prem Team certified SBCs are also a mandate for countries like India, China, Middle East, where the telco regulations requires organizations to maintain an on-prem based SBC so that when the calls are breaking out, the PSTN connectivity that's between this Teams user and the PSTN trunks is not hitting the cloud as per the local telco laws in those respective countries as well. So direct routing is the only option currently available in countries like India, China, Middle East, where the telco regulations are most strict. The only requirement, again, from the customer perspective, the customer would require to have the internet connectivity or a private connectivity onto the Office 365. You would also require to have a team certified session border controllers and the PSTN connectivity. So like gradually while we are moving from calling plan to operator connect, from operator connect to operator connect mobile, and then towards the recruiting, the customer or the organizational responsibility is increasing uh, from calling plan to the recruiting architecture. Once it is operator, it was operator who is hosting the SBCs. Operator requires to manage those SBCs in Operator Connect Mobile. Again, the operator hosts the SBCs and manages them. Here, the SBCs are hosted by the organizations, so large organizations, large government customers host this SBCs either in their office premises or they host this SBC into their data center locations, which they have from the different telcos. Managing, updating the SBCs can be provided by a managed providers like us or managed partners that can provide the services, or this can be managed by the organizations internally as well. So that's the architecture for Teams direct routing. In Teams direct routing, there is additional uh, services that is called as media bypass, wherein media would always flow between your Teams user and the session border controller directly to the PSTN trunk. It would never touch the cloud. So that's one of the feature functionality that's available as well. Now, lastly, a comparison between all three of the platforms. So let's look at, so from the left to the right, direct routing going towards the calling plans. If we look at it, calling plan services are the most easiest one. You do not require to configure any session border controllers. You do not require to maintain any voice trunks or PSTN trunks from the from any of the carriers. You can quickly get started with the calling plans. You just need to assign the users with the licenses, and then you can up and running into the calling plan services immediately within a day, not beyond that. Easy steps, rapid for proof of concept. It is also really important that calling plan can also be a mix and match. Like you can have in certain countries where your office locations are really small. So for example, you have a global organization and then you have a small office in Sweden that only contains for about 10 users or 20 users. So instead of putting up a dedicated on-prem based solution or a hosted solution or getting services from your operators, you can always do a mix and match of calling plan versus operator connect versus direct routing. So in an organization, you can have a mix of all three based on which service is available in which country. So if you are looking for services in a country like take an example of Mexico or Brazil in the South America region, and you don't want to put in a dedicated direct routing infrastructure in those countries, you can always look at an hosting solution from an operator connect platform or an operator connect partner altogether, where you can get those services in those countries from these partners, and the partners would be able to deliver the services directly into your Office 365 cloud integrated with your Microsoft Teams solutions. So that would give you a flexibility of using calling plans and operator connect and direct routing based on our requirement, based on our resiliency and the survivability options that are required. And it can be in different countries. So calling plan, easiest one. You have the next one that's available is the operator connect, where every services are still coming in from the cloud. You do not the existing infrastructures or the existing contracts with your existing telcos can still be retained. You can request your telco to move the services from your existing SIP trunks on your current environment to the cloud. Could be a solution for your remote offices, solution could be for your multiple offices in the single country, but you have a lesser user bases in those country as well. It can also be one of the solutions because, like I mentioned, calling plans is only available in 45 countries, whereas Operator Connect is now available readily in 65 plus countries across the regions. So 65 plus countries can provide is the places where you can get the Operator Connect services from. So it gives you a wider range of country coverage in terms of operator connect. So direct routing is the last option that we'll also discuss as well. So with direct routing, uh, you have an existing third party PBX like Cisco, Avaya, Mitel, Nortel, Siemens, any of those platform 8 by 8, all those platform. If you have any of those and you want to have an integration with those platform, you require to have your existing PBX integrations um, uh, till the migrations are completed. Direct routing is the only option that you can have those integration solutions being available as well. It also serves the purpose in countries where Microsoft calling plans are not available, where Microsoft cannot provide you with a solution. And like I mentioned, direct routing is also a solution in the regulated markets, countries like Middle East, China, and India, where the telco regulations are more strict for the implementation of data routing solutions. Uh, in case if you require any survivability options where if the whole infrastructure of Microsoft goes down or if Office 365 is down in a specific region, you can still have your PSTN up and running without any requirement of uh, having and cloud connectivity. If whole services or the whole solution from Office 365 is down, you can still register to your local appliances on-prem or in any of the cloud, and then in any of the SBC which are hosted in any of the data centers, and then make the PSTN calls seamlessly. Lastly, like I mentioned, you can always use a combination of direct routing, calling plan, and operator connect. All the three options are available. All the three options can interrupt with each other in the same architecture seamlessly without any problems. In case if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on my LinkedIn. You can share your feedback in terms about the sessions, and then you can also send me an email if you need any help or if you're getting started with Teams Voice, if you need any help on those things, so any certifications that you are working upon, be it MS 700, 720, or 740, do reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and happy to support you accordingly. Thank you for having me today for the session, and you have a great rest of the session ahead.